Do not touch other people's property without their permission. Seems reasonable, seems like good etiquette, seems like something every parent should teach their children. You just don't go down and touch other people's stuff. You might break it, you might damage it, you don't know what it is, you don't know what it's worth in a lot of cases. An unfortunate circumstances is that I have had all my property touched by other people. It's been moved without my permission, been packed in boxes, people touching it, don't know what it is, they've damaged a lot of stuff, they've thrown out a lot of stuff that's valuable. And in this particular case, I found this. It's dusty, it was loose, it was shoved in a box. Clearly no one knew what it was. I had it in a baggie with paperwork from the receipt and the national stock number. So you might look at this and think it's a rubber eyepiece for a telescope or some sort of optic. What's it worth? $1? $5? If you don't know what it is, you don't know what it's worth. You're just making an assumption. So this is the rubber eyepiece for a 106 millimeter Polaris rifle, M40A2 or M40A4. I believe the optic's still the same. And I bought a 106 millimeter D-milled by ATF specs. I don't need to go into details with that. But I bought it in Colorado for $7,500, and I had to drive there to pick it up because it wasn't going to get shipped. So I'm into that like at least $8,000 before I can bring it home. And I ended up restoring it for years, tracking down all the little parts for it. And in order to do that, I do a lot of networking and spend a lot of money and a lot of traveling to find manuals for this weapon system. And your usual manuals you're going to find are the TM, TAC 1 and 2, operator level stuff. Or what I really needed was the TAC 3 and 4. Those numbers at the end of the TM are the echelons. So like 1 and 2 are operator level, 3 or 4 or like maintenance level. So like if you buy a vehicle and buy a truck and you get your manual, you get a TAC 1 or TAC 2, that's not going to have the nitty gritty breakdowns of every part and every little thing on there, because the 3 and 4s are for depot level maintenance where you're going to be tearing apart engines and transmissions and every part is covered. So I had to track down a 3 and a 4 for a weapon system, which usually those are destroyed and really hard to get. It's going to have a higher dollar value. So I spent like $300 in manuals, spending years to get those manuals, to find the national stock numbers for little nuts and bolts and other little parts I didn't have, including this rubber piece. So my rifle is made in 1955, meaning it's over 60 years old. And when was the last time replacement parts were made? When the weapon system was still in the US military. And as far as I can tell, when the Humvee came out, they were testing the 106 on it in the late 80s and early 90s, right up until the TOW replaced the 106. And then they abandoned the project with the 106 recoilless rifle on the Humvee, and we sold it off to Spain and a few other countries. So the last time replacement parts could be made are probably in the 80s, meaning this part is 30 to 40 years old easily, and it will never be made again, most likely. And so these are really hard to get, if not impossible to get. And the only way to find this is tracking down the national stock number, finding a guy that bought 100 of these at auction several years earlier, tracking that guy down and buying this from $85 plus shipping. If you destroy this, if you damage this, and like, well, how much did it cost? $85? I'll give you $85. I cannot get another one of these. I will likely never be able to get another one of these. This is not replaceable. This represents years of research, lots of traveling, $300 in manuals, $85 in the part plus shipping. I had this in a bag with paperwork for it, and the bag is gone, the paperwork's gone, and this is loose and collecting dust, and this is smashed. So that's why it's so important not to touch other people's stuff, especially if you don't know what it is, because you don't know how much work and how much labor and how much effort went into this. This little part you might think is worthless. It's worth a lot to me, and it's not replaceable. That's why it's very important not to touch my stuff, as I've requested from multiple people that came over to my place, or I've been living with somebody else. Basically, the only rule I have is don't touch my stuff, don't move my stuff around, because you can easily cause thousands of dollars worth of damages and not even know it.